In the year 1777, English philosopher Edmund Burke remarked of the European age of exploration, "Now the great map of mankind is unrolled at once, and there is no state or gradation of barbarism, and no mode of refinement which we have not at the same instant under our view. The very different civility of Europe and of China, the barbarism of Persia and Abyssinia, the erratic manners of Tartary and of Arabia, the savage state of North America and of New Zealand." Burke claimed that there was no savage culture or barbaric land that had yet to be explored. Europeans thought that, with the discovery of new lands, they understood the entire world. Yet these findings, reported back to Europe in the form of novels and pamphlets, by word of mouth, and namely through art, mischaracterized foreign cultures and peoples. Although Europeans were gaining new knowledge about the world, portrayals by European artists of foreign lands still greatly reflected the provincial and racist European view in the 16th through early 19th centuries that non-native peoples were primitive, uncultured, and meant to be dominated.
And now to provide some context. Beginning with the age of exploration, Europeans began departing from their sheltered continent to witness more diverse ways of life, launching an era of imperial conquest and colonization. From contact with the New World, the Americas, to Africa and Asia, exploration provided people with a view of cultures and societies that were vastly different from their own. In pre-modern Europe, social hierarchies and behavior were rigidly and strictly enforced. To a hierarchical society so concerned with civility, it seemed natural to Europeans to categorize all foreign people as barbaric and savage, for, according to Dr. Duane Champagne, professor of sociology and American Indian Studies at the UCLA, when many Americans observed indigenous nations, they often contrasted them with the class orders and centralized absolutist states of Europe. The vastly different, seemingly unstructured society of non-Europeans was shocking. This lifestyle, different from anything seen in Western society, prompted negative reactions from some Europeans.
Furthermore, during the Enlightenment, Europeans began to use new scientific methodology to justify their inherent racial superiority to foreign slaves, the products of conquest and domination of distant lands in the age of exploration. Dr. John Mackay, professor at the University of Illinois, substantiates this claim, stating, "When European thinkers drew up a hierarchical classification of human species, their own race was placed at the top. Europeans had long believed they were culturally superior to the barbaric peoples in Africa, and, since 1492, the New World. Now emerging ideas about racial difference taught them that they were biologically superior as well."
16th century French colonist Jean de Lery clearly held these beliefs regarding European superiority, primarily in a religious sense. Upon returning to Europe after a brief stay in Brazil, Lery wrote Histoire d'un voyage fait en la terre du Brésil. In his work, he creates and includes woodcuts and illustrations of the Tupinambá indigenous people of Brazil. In Tupinambá Men Dancing, Lery depicts two naked men, one bearing a headdress and shaking a maraca, dancing with a monkey and a parrot. This image heightens awareness of the differences between Europeans and non-Europeans, propagating stereotypical beliefs about the inferiority of indigenous peoples as a result of their impiety and irreverence toward Christianity. Lery himself stated of the Tupinambá, "The people, living friendly together of those things which God in his bounty has given to them, do not give him any thanks according to his deserts. So savage is this people and deprived of the true knowledge of God." Lery thought that those who deviated from Christianity were barbaric and inherently inferior, a reflection of the beliefs common to that time period. According to historian Guido Abatista of the University of Trieste, the others, barbarian peoples, were enemies who constituted a direct threat to Christian Europe.
Henri Giraudet-Tierson, a French 18th century painter who emerged from the studio of Jacques-Louis David, also exemplified European misunderstanding of a foreign land, Asia. In Study for Portrait of an Indian Man, Giraudet-Tierson depicts a sword-bearing man with a red turban and gold and green robes. While the painting seems to respectfully represent Indian culture, Giraudet-Tierson substitutes Ottoman garb in place of actual Indian attire. The lack of cultural distinction shows that Europeans during this time viewed all Oriental cultures as the same, demonstrating their provincial views on foreign culture.
Blatant racism is also evident in Jean-Marc Natier's Mademoiselle de Clermont en Soutane. N.H.D, an 18th century French painter, depicts a woman sitting elegantly atop Persian carpets above her black servants. She is clearly the focal point of the painting, bathed in light, as the servants that surround her, cast aside into the shadows, obsequiously look up to her. Their race serves to aggrandize the noble woman, for their rank and appearance pale in comparison to the silk-clad mademoiselle.
Not only did art created in the era of exploration depict a lack of respect for other cultures and peoples, it also reflected the European desire for dominance over inferior foreigners. Historian Guido Abatista claims the perceived savagery and half-civilized empires which the Europeans encountered in the Americas invited them to conquer these societies and implant new political, economic, and legal systems there, as well as new languages and religions. Born in the 17th century, Giovanni Battista Tiepolo, an Italian painter, captures the European quest for dominance over native peoples of the New World in The Glory of Spain. The fresco, painted on the ceiling of the Palacio Real throne room in Madrid, depicts in one section the native peoples that Spanish conquistadors have overthrown. They bow, passively allowing the Spanish to sail away with their riches. Some look defeated. This fresco demonstrates the bigoted European view of natives as submissive people, able to easily be dominated and robbed of their goods.
Foreign peoples in European society were not just valued for their material goods, but also for their exotic nature. During the 16th century Renaissance, many wealthy nobles sought after people of African descent for, as Mackay claims, medieval interest in curiosities, the exotic, and the marvelous continued in the Renaissance. Duchess and patron of the arts Isabella d'Este specifically demanded the girl, quote, shapely and as black as possible, end quote, for her court. She had the intention of turning the girl into the, quote, best buffoon in the world and having, quote, great fun with her. The painting L'Ora de Dianti, created in 1523 by Titian, demonstrates this European belief that foreigners were simply diversions, objects of pleasure rather than humans. This material obsession with both non-European peoples and their foreign goods is also demonstrated in French painter Eugène Delacroix's work, The Return of Christopher Columbus, his audience before King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella. In the painting, Columbus presents the Spanish monarchs with the treasures he and his conquistadors pilfered in the Americas. Natives can be seen in the background, witnessing the presentation of these goods. Delacroix presents these people as no more than the bounty that the conquistadors have taken from the New World, sources of entertainment and fascination like Dianti's Moor.
By examining Western art in a time when European contact with the outside world was increasing, we can obtain a clear view of what the perception of foreigners was like in the Western world. Our analysis is significant as it shows the inherent racism that was embedded into all aspects of European culture. Perceived as uncultured, savage, exotic goods, foreign peoples were fascinating to Europeans all the same, and were a continuously popular subject of artwork from the age of exploration onwards. In later years, a positive shift in the depictions of non-Europeans occurred, evident in the late 19th century works of French artist Paul Gauguin. His art celebrates indigenous cultures and emphasizes their beauty. Yet despite these strides, racism lives on, revealing the shockingly provincial nature of modern society that we hold to be advanced.